All right, AD Nation Day. It is the 11th of January 2025. And when I brought you my picks the first time this year, it was at Rio way back in early September. Coming to you tonight, settle in. It's a Long John's edition. I hope you all got your hot cocoa, your goldfish crackers, even some adult beverages if you need to have some of that tonight, because it's time to kind of settle in on this Adrenaline Dog Nation Friday, and we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs for the 2024 season. It's wild card weekend, boys. We're ready to go, and we're going to talk about, this time I'm going to give you not just who I think is going to win, but I'm going to give you a full breakdown, and I'm going to give you my predicted score for all 6 wild card games of this 2024 NFL season. We got some good ones coming up here, or do we? Let's find out. Tomorrow is going to be a big day. This could be party night, I think, because it's just that weekend where it's really, really cold, and everyone kind of gets in there for that late Saturday afternoon wild card game on ABC, and it seems like it's always the Texans, and this year is no different. We have the Los Angeles Chargers. This is the AFC right here, and I'm going to give you the seeds as well. You have the wild card 5th seed Chargers in Houston, taking on the Houston Texans, the perennial AFC South champions. This year, they were not exactly performed to expectations, but in this game, we have the LA Chargers are favored by 3 points, a road favorite. And in Pips Pick'ems right now, it's running 83% LA Chargers. So people really like the Chargers to win this game on the road. And as we go, I'll give you keys. I'll write the keys down if I think they're really important. But yeah, I tell you what, last week, the big win over the Raiders was massive for the Chargers. Not only did they avoid having to, they ruined the Harbaugh Bowl, but they avoided having to go to Baltimore, which nobody wants to do this January. But also, it sets it up so that they would not have to play the Buffalo Bills next week. Just kind of depends on, what happens. But Houston, I told you at the beginning of the year in my predictions video for the season, I told you that the Texans would have a collective slump. And not just CJ Stroud, but the whole team. And they are the worst offense in the playoffs this year. The red zone woes are the core of that punchless playbook they have. Now, the Charger defense has been a tale of 2 seasons. They had the first half, they were elite. They looked incredible. After about week 11, they started to kind of come undone a little bit, giving up a lot of yards. But this is what I don't like about defensive rankings in the NFL. It's based on yards. And it's okay to give up a lot of yards as long as I think it should be based on the amount of points the teams give up on average, or just total points, not yards. Because everyone gets yards in the NFL in this day and age. The Chargers, they tighten up at the right time. They had the lowest touchdown rate in the red zone. 45% of the time, teams scored on there. That's a really good rate. And they have the 5th lowest third down percentage that they allow defenses. So that's a good defense no matter how many yards you give up. Now, both offenses are very methodical. This is one area where I think the Texans have an advantage with Mixon is a great running back plus his playoff experience. And then last week against Tennessee, Pierce came out of the woodwork, 170 yards on the ground, including, what was it, a 92-yard touchdown run. They have a heck of a two-horse back there. It's, Mixon and Pierce, so that's something to look out for. So I'll kind of put that down here in one of my keys. Now the Chargers, they have a great way of slowing the game down. They can dominate the time of possession. That's the Harbaugh effect. The last time we saw Jim Harbaugh in the postseason was last year with Michigan winning the title. The last time we saw him in the NFL postseason, he was in the Super Bowl. And expect to see C.J. Stroud here parked on the sideline bench for a lot of this game, kind of just sitting there as the Chargers control the clock. Another thing here to really look out for is the Chargers defensive line. This is one of the best lines in the NFL, and I think they're going to give that Texans offensive line a lot to handle. I'm looking at Justin Herbert, now in his fifth year. He'll do enough. He won't have a spectacular game. No interceptions. He's been looking for that elusive first playoff win in his career. He gets it in Houston. I have the Chargers winning this game, kind of a low-scoring game. But kind of a close game. So I have it right at the line, 23-20. Is it overtime? I don't know. Could be. But I like the Chargers to grind this one out, get a win on the road. Herbert gets his first playoff win in his career. The 2020 draft class looking pretty good. They have 3 starting quarterbacks in this playoffs. Herbert's one, Jalen Hurts is the other, and Jordan Love is the third. And you could count Jake Fromm, Farm State, the third stringer for the Lions, if you want. But also a couple other good ones that were both in it last year, Tua and Joe Burrow. Okay, so that 2020 draft class really doing well. All right, so that's the pick for the first game, the Chargers Texans, the one that the NFL will be hiding on ABC with their B team. It's just the nature of what happens every year with the Texans. All right, we're going to move on to the Saturday night game, guys. All right, Chris Hansen, hope you're ready for this one because we got the John DuPay Bowl coming up. What was your plan here tonight with this 13-year-old girl? Watch football. Who's playing? Steelers and the Ravens. All right, so Steelers and Ravens. This one is going to be the Saturday night game. By now, you guys will probably have the pizza getting ready. We did a lot of talk about pizza. Tomorrow night, JHL with that Giannoli's, wherever he went to, and then Andy with the Roman House. Bolt says he's going to go balls out as well. He's predicting that the Chargers are going to win, are going to dominate. So that's his prediction. I'm saying 23-20 Chargers, but all right, he's calling his shot on that one. But on this game, the night game, you guys have the pizza going. Big Daddy will probably be at least 7 beers deep at this point. So it's going to be a great night to hang out, maybe play some trivia, talk football, do some wild card trivia, play some music, and talk with Muzak. Steelers, Ravens. All right, skanks, this one's on Amazon Prime. I don't really care because I don't really like either of these teams, to be honest with you. All right, Steelers and the Ravens, AFC North matchup, boys. This is this is what happens when you lose 4 games in a row to end the season, back your way into the playoffs. It's ridiculous. Story here is the Baltimore defense. It took some time after defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald left for Seattle to be head coach. First 10 weeks, it was a little shaky at times on defense, but from week 11 to now, the Ravens have really adapted to new defensive coordinator Zach Orr's schemes. Zach, son of former Redskin tight end Terry Orr, by the way. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Zach Orr probably get some looks pretty soon for head coach. Maybe not this year, but maybe after next season. 4 straight losses, okay, for the Steelers. But let's not look past what their defense did last Saturday in that 1917 loss. They did a really good job against a MVP candidate, Joe Burrow, and they also did a really good job against the reigning MVP this year, Lamar Jackson. In both games, he had a combined 87.9 rating. That's his second lowest against any team in the NFL. So don't overlook that Pittsburgh defense. Okay, so Baltimore defense is just going to be the big. It's going to be the big story here, and they are going to go. I think you're going to see Justin Fields in this game as well. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Steelers just can't get out of their own way lately, and you're going to see a pretty good defense in the first half. The first quarter, maybe into the second quarter. This is, to me, a statement game for the Ravens going forward. It's really a 3-horse race in the AFC. That most people feel that way. I think it's all academic. It's going to be the Chiefs, but just for the sake of argument, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore. No other team has any chance at the Super Bowl outside of those 3. And this one is going to be a big statement game. This is going to be a game where the Ravens pull away. And I know both really good defenses, but it's going to be a hell of a game. Henry's going to wear him out, I think, on the ground. 31-16 is going to be my final. Baltimore wins this game, no surprise. By the way, the line here on this game is Ravens are 10-point favorites right now. It was 9.5 a couple of days ago, 9.5, but 10-point favorites in a playoff game that's something else. Right now, Pips Pick'ems, we're looking at 96% going for the Ravens. 96%. The other 4% is Duck. All right, Duck, you suck. Steelers suck. And I got to tell you, it's going to be Steelers don't belong. And people are going to say, "Oh, the Steelers have a chance here." Peters, you're going to eat your words. The Steelers are not winning this game. The Steelers suck. They don't belong here. There should be another team instead of the Steelers in the playoffs this time. I'm sick of looking at their uniforms and everything about them because they've lost 4 games in a row. It's ridiculous. They should just be disqualified. All right. Also, seriously, I do believe that after this loss, that it is going to be the time for Mike Tomlin to go in Pittsburgh. 10 years, it's getting on 10 years now without a playoff win. That's unacceptable in Pittsburgh. Some people would look back to the Chuck Noll era in the 80s and be like, well, he was didn't do very well. I mean, he didn't, but he won the Super Bowl in January of 1980, got to an AFC title game in 1980 with the 1984 team with Mark Malone, of all people, starting quarterback. And there was only a 5-year gap between playoff appearances then and then that 1989 team, which he did a hell of a job with. That was an inferior team he had there. Bubby Brister and Merrill Hodge and Lewis Lips is your top receiver. I mean, that was an anemic offense. Tim Worley in the backfield too. I think he went to Georgia. The only Hall of Famer, great player they had was Rod Woodson in the secondary, and Dermontti Dawson as well, the center. But I mean, wow, that team! And then they won a playoff game on the road against the Oilers juggernaut, and went to overtime, I believe, the next week against the Denver Broncos. Almost got to the AFC Championship game with that terrible team. So Noel actually didn't do bad during the '80s, but he had some impressive moments there. But I think it's time for Tomlin to go. He's a very good coach, very good to great head coach. He's still young enough to go somewhere else and start to develop something there, start a new legacy for a team. It's just the right fit. But the Steelers need to have somebody in mind of who they're going to take. It's just the way it goes. It comes to an end. It's like Mike Holmgren in Green Bay. He was a very good coach, and Shanny in Denver. So, all right, I got Steelers going out to the Ravens. Ravens will be into the division round again. Let's go to the night game, boys. Not the night game. The early game on Sunday. You ready? Sunday, we got coming up on, it's CBS. I think this is going to be the B team, by the way, on CBS. Rest in peace, Greg Gumbel. We have the 7 seed and the 2 seed, the Broncos. Lady Bronco, PDB team, taking on Buffalo Bills. Chalk and soft, baby. Ready to go. All right. The last time that these two teams met in the playoffs, January 1992, the AFC Championship game. Now, this was a game, the previous year, the Bills in the AFC Championship game had destroyed the Raiders with that vaunted offense, 51-3. And here they were back in the AFC Championship game. This time it was a very low scoring effort by both teams, down to the wire. Carlton Bailey, reserve linebacker, with an 11-yard touchdown return interception to make it 7-0. Scott Norwood adds a field goal to make it 10-0, and then Gary Kubiak, replacing an injured John Elway, who had a bad thigh injury in that game, runs one in from 3 yards out with under 2 minutes to go. Broncos get actually recover the onside kick. For future Hall of Famer Steve Atwater recovers the onside kick, but the Bills defense stiffens there. They were 12-point favorites in that game, but they ended up winning 10-7, denying the Broncos the opportunity to play in their 4th Super Bowl in 6 seasons. Instead, it was the Bills going to their 2nd straight Super Bowl, which they would lose to the Washington Redskins 37-24. This is the first game since then. Where were you, Shaw? Do you remember that game? In this game, it's not a 12-point favorite, but it's pretty high. It is at the moment Bills favored by 8.5 points. And overall Pips Pick'ems, Bills also with a commanding lead. Most people going, right now it's 95% Bills. I don't think many people are high on the Broncos winning this game, but let's talk about it. Denver defense. This is the best defense that the Bills have faced in a long time. They faced some defenses ranked in the 20s, even up in the 30s lately. So they know what they're up against here. This is a really good defense. The Denver offense has also improved greatly in the second half of the season. Buffalo fans kind of banking on rookie QB Nix here. The Bo Nix, the Oregon rookie, making his first playoff start as rookie season. Put that down here. Could they win and then win 2 more? Nix to Super Bowl 59? Could it happen? Next to Licks. Denver run game is going to be key here. they got three: Williams, McLaughlin, Esteem. They kind of distribute it well with that running back by committee. And Nix himself had 430 rushing yards. He can move. He's also very durable. He took every single snap this year and made every single start for the Broncos. Very impressive for a rookie. Also speaks about the offensive line for the Denver Broncos. Pretty sturdy. The Buffalo, the Bills' offensive balance is going to be key here. They're the best offensively balanced team in the NFL, I believe, maybe the best in history. First team in NFL history to have 30 touchdown passes, that exactly 30, 28 for Mr. Allen and 2 for Mr. Mitch Trubisky, and then 30 rushing touchdowns. Incredible, mostly coming from Cook, 16 touchdowns. He had 18, by the way, total, including receiving. So 16 rushing touchdowns for Cook, 12 for Allen. They know how to get physical there in the red zone and get into that end zone. The Bills, incredibly balanced on offense. And Allen and Nix, the two starting quarterbacks here, one the veteran, one the rookie, both mistake-free quarterbacks. Nix with 12 interceptions, Allen with I think 8, maybe less than that, maybe 6. Well-disciplined. You're going to see a well-disciplined team, mistake-free quarterbacks, very well-coached teams, not sloppy. Peyton's got a lot of playoff experience. He's got a Super Bowl. Ronnie Howard has a lot of experience too. He's just looking to kind of get over the hump here. So it's not going to be a sloppy game. Could be a high-scoring game. There's a lot of recency bias in this game. A lot of recency bias. People, that game on CBS last week with Tony Romo and Jim Nantz, Chiefs, Broncos, people really looked at that and they were very impressed by the Broncos. It's like when you see a team in preseason going up against third stringers, you get all hyped up. Don't do it, guys. Don't fall prey to that. Every year we have a team like this that is really got like a Johnny Try-Hard team with a young team, and they come in, they get overwhelmed by a team that's has been there in the trenches many times before. I think this is that game, and I think you're going to have the Bills just have a great game here. They're ready for this, and they're going to have a pretty decisive victory. 35-17. Not going to be a very good game coming off that. It's the second straight game that hasn't been very good in my predictions. So that's what I got for you for that game. We're halfway through. Stick with me, guys. We're going to go to the 4:30 game coming up. That's Eagles 52. That's C-Town. You ready? All right, Sunday on Fox. Here we go, guys. Packers, Eagles. You got the 7 seed, the 2 seed. This is why that loss to the Bears last week was big. That was not good for the Packers. Losing to the Bears. They were right down to the end of that game while the Commanders were at the goal line with less than 10 seconds to go. This was happening at the exact same time. Packers needed to either win that game or have the Cowboys hold. Neither happened, and because of that, the Packers are going to freaking Philly. Good freaking luck. Good freaking luck. It was a 3.5. It was a 3.5 point line earlier this week. Now it is moved up a point, guys. 4.5. On Pips Pick'ems, right now it's 90-10. All right. Yeah, Eagles caught a break when Christian Watson had the ACL last week, and he's out So he ain't coming back. Not good, guys. They also don't have Jair Alexander, cornerback. That's really bad. Packers enter the game in Philly after a very physical contest with the Bears. Love got banged up as well. They were going for seeding. I definitely commend them because they definitely needed to go out there and try to win that game. But boy, they really paid the price for it, and they lost. Meanwhile, the Eagles are rested. Jacobs, 7.8 yards per carry against Philly in week 1. So I'm going to put Josh Jacobs here as a key, because he is a very big key to the Packers' chances here of winning this game, getting the upset as the 7th seed. They had some success, but at that young line, Titans. Hang on, guys. Yeah. And they're going to put some pressure on Jordan Love. I really like that defensive line of the Eagles. I talked about it back at the season predictions in Rio, how good their line was. I also talked about their secondary that has some veterans in there, but also the 2 rookies. And down the stretch, you're going to start to see that coming to the fold. We have a mismatch on offense. So Jair Alexander is on IR. So we have one of the other keys here is Eagles wide receiver A.J. Brown versus Packers cornerback Smith. Forget his first name. Smith is going to be a huge mismatch. That's not going to go well. Also arrested Barkley is going to be big. That was a good decision to sit him out. That's not going to go well for the Packers, having him rested up. Eagles will get some one-on-ones to avoid safety Xavier McKinney, one of the best defenders on the Packers, and that's also bad. So I think you're going to see some one-on-ones there, and because of Barkley running the ball so well, and that's going to play to the Packers' detriment. When they start to focus too much on Barkley. I'll just put Barkley here because you all know it, but it's going to be a big key to victory for the Philadelphia Eagles. The Super Bowl run begins at 4:30 on Fox. I said it back in early September at Rio. They're going to the Super Bowl. C-Town, you're going to be stocked up on some cheap old Milwaukee. Drink about 24. It's going to be a bad day. I got the Eagles. It's C-Town, yeah. That's going to be a cold as nuts, too, just in Philly. 34-20. Pretty easy victory for the Eagles here. Not much more to say about that other than the fact that we got the 2 more 2020 quarterbacks going at it again. So, yeah, 2 really good quarterbacks and a coach that this guy LaFleur is very similar to Mike Tomlin. I think they're the best 2 coaches in the NFL of getting the most out of inferior talent. And then this guy just has a punchable face. All right, let's go to the night game, Sunday night. All right, I've been waiting all day for Sunday night on NBC to witness a battle of the teams with the longest nicknames in the NFL. The 6th seed Washington Commanders taking on the 3 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers, boys. All right, so we got Dan Quinn as a head coach, and we got who has some playoff experience as a head coach and a defensive coordinator. And then for the Buccaneers, we got Todd Bowles, former Redskin safety. He was the starting free safety in Super Bowl 22, the blowout win against Denver. He got a ring there. Missed getting a ring in 1991. He went to the 49ers that year, but came back and finished his career in 1992, 93 as a member of the Redskins. He's facing his old team, Todd Bowles here. A little history here. It has been 19 years since Washington has won a playoff game. That's the third longest drought in the NFL. Miami Dolphins, 23 years. Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders, 21 years. 19 years for these boys. Last one was January of 2006 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay. And that was a game where you had a lot of defense there. You had LeVar Arrington out of Penn State having a great game. You had Sean Taylor playing like he was in a video game in that game. And then Clinton Portis carrying the offense, winning a tight game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that year. And my experience of that game was sitting on a little bar stool by myself at home the entire game with a water bottle. And that's all I had the whole time, and doing little superstitious things when something good would happen. Make sure my hand was in the right place, my foot was in the right place, so something good would happen again. A lot of superstitions going on. It was such a tight game, intense game. Only drinking water, not eating anything else. Starving myself. Very, very intense game. And then after the game, I think I got a home run in pizza, maybe from U-Crops. I think it was a pizza. And also drank a lot. So I got very, very, very drunk after that game. That's the only thing I remember. I don't remember exactly what I ate. It was a home run in pizza or maybe some kind of microwave burrito. But I do remember very well getting drunk. Okay, so I got very, very drunk. Chalk, if you're watching this, can you give me a coffee? I need a drink. All right, and then the last time these two teams met 5 years ago in the playoffs was 5 years ago, the weird 2020 season. Now this one was with Ron Rivera, the head coach, a 7-9 Washington football team hosting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Very close game. This would be a little different this year. It's not going to be this. That time it was Taylor Heineke versus Tom Brady. This one's just a little bit different. That game was close. The Buccaneers won. They went on to win the Super Bowl, and that was the game where I really knew for a fact that I was no longer a fan of this team, because during the game in the second half it was a tight game and I was just eating. Big difference from January of 2006. This game, 2025, January 2025. Now they met each other in week one. It was a 37-20 victory, easy win for the Buccaneers. Remember that game, Duck? Remember you said you're picking the Buccaneers. You asked me, who should I pick, the Buccaneers? I said, hell no. Mayfield's going to go off, and you did it. You picked them anyway. Remember that, Duck? Remember that? Okay. Mayfield threw for 4 touchdown passes. Remember that one, Duck? I talked about it in the video. They also unleashed the Buccaneers also unleashed running back Irving. I'm going to put that in my keys here before I forget. So we're just going to put Irving, because he was kind of he's a rookie, and that was kind of like a come out game for him, and he really impressed me in that game. Okay, let's talk about the line here of this game. So the line is tight. So we have the Buccaneers favored by 3, and then in Picks Pick'ems, this is the closest one. Earlier in the week, it was 54-46 Buccaneers, and starting to move up a little more. So right now, we're at 58% Buccaneers. So it's the tightest one of all 6 games. Okay, Bucky Irving, this guy's going to have a good game, I believe. And then the Commanders' run defense is just terrible. It's really bad. It's one of the worst run defenses. I'll put that here. Bad Commanders run D. So that's going to be big. Everyone's kind of focuses on the passing, but this is going to be really make a big difference here. The run game lately has essentially just been Daniels, and that's not good. Robinson has done nothing for them, so that's really bad for them. If they don't find some way to somehow get the running game going, they have no shot to win this game, to make it a physical game. They also, these guys also have no pass rush. Now, in the first game, it was surprising how good their pass rush was. It looked really good for the lack of talent that they have on the defensive line. They were getting to Baker Mayfield throughout the entire game. But Baker Mayfield escaped the rush. I think they only sacked him once or twice in that game. Baker Mayfield was creating plays with his legs, escaping would-be sacks, and then finding room, throwing for touchdowns. It was an elite performance by Baker Mayfield. The Tampa Bay pass defense is 29th in the NFL, so that's not very good. They could probably give up a little explosion there, and then the other one that the other big key here, we all know how good Mike Evans is as a wide receiver. In game one, Marshawn Lattimore was in New Orleans. He's here now as a member of the Commanders after a trade, but he's had hamstring issues. JHL's nephew, JHL's first grandnephew. Yeah, grandnephew. I said that wrong today. So JHL's grandnephew. JHL says he needs surgery, but I think he'll definitely play in this game or try to play. So they need a miracle coverage performance by him because their secondary is atrocious, and you're going to see it in prime time. It's very bad. Key matchup in this game is a very key matchup is Washington center Tyler Biadasz versus nose tackle for the Buccaneers, Vita Vea. He's gonna create havoc in there, so look for that. Baker Mayfield, 41 touchdowns this year. They're going. I see this being a pretty high-scoring game. I see the Buccaneers winning this game, 35-27. Okay, so there's going to be points in this game. Might be kind of close, like at the end. Might have a shot there at the end, but I got the Buccaneers. Moving on to play the Eagles next week. All right, let's get to the final game of Wild Card Weekend. You know what it is, guys. All right, Monday Night Football. We have the 5 seed Vikings taking on the 4 seed Rams. All right, you guys ready for this one? Very tight line. The Vikings are favored by 1.5 points. That's the second team that is favored, second road team that is favored. The first one is the Chargers. And then on Pips Pick'ems, we're running 3/4, exactly 3/4 Vikings. People like the Vikings to win. What's going to happen? Rams defense is similar to the Chargers. They are far from elite, but they are top 5 with red zone defense. So that's a good D when you can stop teams in the red zone. Their top 2 draft picks, I really like their top 2 draft picks this year. They did a great job with that defensive line. After the retirement of Aaron Donald, immediate impact. The Vikings defense blitzes a lot, and this time they're going to be blitzing on the non-mobile Stafford. But Stafford, though he can't run very well, he does make teams pay for bringing extra bodies. Okay, so that's a big key to this game. I think he's going to beat the blitz a lot in this game. Vikings on offense. The Rams don't, bring